On January 12, 2010, a catastrophic 7.0 earthquake devastated Haiti, killing an estimated 300,000 and rendering 1.5 million homeless, creating an estimated $8 billion in damage. The epicenter of the earthquake was a few miles from Port-au-Prince, which is a capital city of over 2 million people. This was another devastating event for a country with a long history of hardship through mistreatment by foreign governments and mismanagement by its own government. Haiti is a country which has an average life expectancy of about 62 years, an overall literacy rate of 53%, and an unemployment rate approaching 40%. Haiti's gross domestic product is 204th in the world, just behind Rwanda and just ahead of Uganda. Only about 40% of children receive any kind of formal education. By far, Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. But when it comes to providing aid, one of the most common complaints you often hear from people making financial contributions is, how can we make sure that the money we give gets to the people intended, rather than going through some agency that has significant administrative fees or that uses the money for other purposes? That was also a challenge for our 3 Rotary Clubs as well, to make sure our financial commitments were going to directly benefit the people of Haiti. We needed to make sure that our funds were not going to the non-governmental organizations who pay themselves their operating costs first, and then whatever is left over goes to the people. In late 2012, a small group of Rotarians traveled to Haiti and were introduced to a community grassroots organization called SOPUDEP, which has been spearheaded by Madame Riadol since about 2002. In 2011, just after the earthquake, the Rotary Club of Barrie committed a relatively small amount of money to SOPUDEP to assist with a lunch program at the school and for some teachers' salaries, and some money for a small microcredit loan group for a women's group promoting small businesses for women who were the sole support of their families. We documented our efforts in an earlier 20-minute YouTube video, Barrie Rotarians Helping Build a Better Future in Haiti. This investigation led all 3 of our Rotary Clubs to make a multi-year commitment to worthwhile projects in Haiti that are proposed by a tri-club Haiti committee. The total commitment is $111,000 over 7 years. SOPUDEP is hard to describe in terms of what we in Canada would understand. It is essentially a community grassroots organization working to bring accessible, free education to women and children, and to bring economic empowerment through supporting women's and children's rights in an area of Port-au-Prince. I guess you could say that the overarching theme of SOPUDEP is self-empowerment through education in its widest sense. In Haiti, education has never been a right. It has been a privilege for those who can afford it. It is estimated that only about 40% of children get any kind of formal education in Haiti. Even prior to the January 2010 earthquake, SOPUDEP, through Madame Riadol, was providing free education from kindergarten to grade 12, a school lunch program, vocational training for older children who could not attend school on a full-time basis, microcredit loans to women who want to start their own businesses, and some modest prenatal medical assistance for pregnant women and some HIV/AIDS prevention programs. The SOPUDEP current school has a history. It started in 2002 with 150 students. It started on property that was leased for 10 years. So the lease ended in 2012, but they have continued to operate the school without a lease since that time. At the time of the 2010 earthquake, there were about 500 students in the school. After the earthquake, attendance went down to 300 students. Many of the students had to dedicate their energies to their family's own basic survival. 23 students and 2 teachers died in the earthquake. Fortunately, now enrollment is back to over 700 students. There's a morning shift and an afternoon shift of students. Many of the students and teachers will walk up to 90 minutes to get to school in the morning. This school is very proud of its accomplishments. For example, in 2012, of the 58 grade 9 students who took the state standardized tests, 56 passed. Also, there's an afternoon program for street kids and orphans that provides some basic vocational training. Many of the graduates of the school go on, or at least want to go on, to university if they can afford it. We spoke to students who want to go into medicine, or nursing, or teaching, or business programs in order to give back to their community. We interviewed older students who have graduated from the SOPUDEP School and have organized themselves as a group to donate time and energy in the community. For example, the local public hospital does not provide any form of bedding or hygiene products such as soap and washcloths. So this student group organized an effort to come up with packages containing soap, washcloths, feminine hygiene products, towels, and they took these packs to the hospital and distributed them. There's also a cooking program for young women to learn cooking skills that they could then employ in local restaurants and hotels. Our 3 Rotary Clubs have provided assistance to this school. One of our club's efforts was to purchase a number of Kindle readers for the school so that students could download French language texts and books for their classes and pleasure reading. We also took surplus French language school texts gathered from a French language high school in Barrie to the SOPUDEP School for distribution. We committed to a university student loan program for those students eligible to go on to university but who could not have adequate funding for their tuition. Our club has committed $40,000 over 4 years, being $10,000 a year, to this initiative, starting in 2016. We are now in the 2nd year of this assistance. There's also a new school in the works. As a result of donations over the years from high school students in Los Altos, California, Madame Dole was able to buy a plot of land and to start building her own school with a view to it becoming partially self-sustaining. As you can see from the photos taken in 2012, 2015, and 2016, the school has gone from a vacant piece of land to a 3-story building that hopes to open in 2017. The idea is to continue to offer free education to students of families who cannot afford to pay for their children to attend school. As I mentioned earlier, the existing school is being run in a building that belongs to the municipality, and the lease was up a few years ago, so the school could be asked to leave at any time. This new school then will offer stability and security for children wanting an education and will continue to provide teaching jobs for the educators at the school. Also, as a result of continuing donations from student groups and from our Rotary Clubs, Madame Dole has been able to hire laborers and train students to build school desks, benches, and cabinets for the new school. Another vision for the school is to be able to generate some income, such as hot meals from the kitchen that will provide not only lunches for the students, but also there will be an auditorium, and the kitchen will complement the use of the auditorium for community groups or individuals who can rent the auditorium for festivals, cultural events, weddings, and the like. This income will then supplement some of the costs of running the new school. Our 3 Rotary Clubs, as part of our multi-year commitment, have provided funding to purchase kitchen equipment such as a refrigerator, a stove, fryers, and other smaller appliances. We've provided $15,000 for these purchases. Madame Dole has also started a microcredit lending program in 2010 with 21 women and no building in which to operate it. They just sat outside discussing their wishes for income opportunities. This informal program offered loans to women willing to start their own business. The original loan was $64 and repayment was monitored. Now there are approximately 36 people, the vast majority of whom are women, who have received small loans to provide assistance for their small businesses. Their businesses might consist of reselling consumer products, basic food reselling, selling of cooking materials, or pharmacy goods. The loans are now variable and range between $300 and $1,000. Each borrower has to have had a successful record of repayment of their earlier loans, and each applicant goes through a screening process in which an agent checks on the information provided by the applicant. The applicants are charged a small initiation fee of $5. There is currently a waiting list of people who qualify for loans, but there is an insufficient infrastructure to do the necessary screening, and of course, there's a lack of funding for the loans. In 2014, many of the borrowers took a small business training program on budgeting and business practices. There was even testing involved, and each participant received a certificate. By being involved in this week-long program, each participant had to forego their income-producing efforts, and so earned no income to sustain their families while they took this program. This is one indicator of the degree of commitment these women have to improving their own circumstances as well as their family's well-being. This FASA microcredit loan program also provides some literacy training for the women in the group. The ripple effect of this is that by showing these women the importance of reading and arithmetic, they will encourage their own children to go to school and to stay in school. In our meeting with the microcredit group, the women gave heartbreaking witness to what the program has provided to them. It has provided a sense of self-worth, solidarity with the other women in the program, and has provided a more consistent source of income, however small, and has given them a networking opportunity and some sense of security with the other women in the community. The women also spoke encouragingly of Ria Dole's assistance and support in getting the program running and maintaining it. Our clubs have provided assistance to this microcredit loan program as well. In November 2015, the Tri-Club Committee recommended a commitment of $8,000 to feed this successful microcredit lending program. We have also provided other hands-on assistance. In November 2015, several Rotarians and friends or family of Rotarians traveled to Haiti. In the advanced planning for that trip, Carol Ford of the Rotary Club of Barrie came up with the idea of training interested members of the microcredit group and others in how to make purses using fabric material and pop can tabs. Rotarians took down about 50 pounds of pop can tabs and yards of material that had been gathered in the Barrie area prior to the trip. Carol demonstrated the production process to the Haitians, and she also provided quality control during the process. These pop can tab purses make interesting conversation starters at parties or at Rotary meetings. We bought the end products from the producers and then brought them back to Barrie for resale. The money made here has gone back into buying more materials and sewing machine parts so that the Haitians can continue to produce and sell the purses in Haiti. There is a small but growing effort to attract tourists to a resort area just outside of Port-au-Prince, so there may be a growing market for these items. In November 2015, on the same trip, Ria Dole organized a makeshift medical clinic. Rotarians had taken down 2 boxes of prepackaged medical supplies that were purchased through Medipacks. Each box was about $500 and contained mostly over-the-counter medications and ointments and antibiotics that we can readily purchase here in Canada, but that are in short supply in Haiti. The clinic was set up in a desolate, hilly area outside of Port-au-Prince, where victims of the 2010 earthquake were forced to resettle. 2 Haitian medical students volunteered their time and examined children and women over the 6 hours or so that we were there and had the clinic set up. We estimated that about 180 to 200 people were seen, and most were given as appropriate treatment as was possible. The most common ailments were bacterial infections, skin rashes, and vaginal infections. Also, there is no potable water in the community. Water is trucked into a central cistern from which the families draw water. This is far from ideal and does not get close to meeting the community's needs. Members of the community asked us to consider providing assistance to come up with a better water system. So you can see, we have accomplished a great deal over the past 3 years in our 3 clubs' combined efforts in working with this grassroots, community-based organization that seeks to provide education and vocational training to women and children in one community in the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. In the 3 years that we have been assisting this group, We have seen tremendous benefits provided in terms of education, vocational training, business networking, and medical assistance. Also, we have seen the people of SOPUDEP take their destiny in their own hands and work towards a better life for themselves and to improve their communities through education, literacy, and small business development.